Good evening, Internet. Welcome back to another night of Strange and Scary Games. I'm Mom. That's all that's over my shoulder. Tonight we are continuing our journey through Paranormasight, The Mermaid's Curse. We have been working through Avi's timeline. The last video was a lot of information and not a lot of action, so I'm hoping that in this video we will get to some action. So that's what I'm hoping for. Let's get into it. After collecting information about mermaids and returning to their inn, Avi and Circe have a meeting to plan for their true objective, the treasure hunt. Now then, I believe it is time we discuss our strategy. Sure. What do you mean by strategy? It should be obvious. We must reflect on all we've learned if we want to move forward. Some of the notes I've taken, the information in them is not substantive and likely of no use. This is a sketch of the mermaid mummy that I found in our family storage. Bringing it along would have been out of the question, so I settled on just bringing a sketch. Oh, that's right. I still haven't told Circe why I'm searching for mermaids. This map looks quite old. Oh, was that Circe? This map looks quite old. Exactly. It is also the precise reason why I've come to Mie. To put it simply, this is no ordinary map. This is a mermaid treasure map. A mermaid treasure map? Allow me to explain. I found this mermaid treasure map in the family storage. I should explain it to Circe. Oh, is this the business card from the guy we met earlier? It is. We managed to glean some surprisingly good information from that exchange. First things first, let's head back to the inn. From there, we can plan our next move. Pardon me, but would the lovely lady and handsome gentleman be willing to spare a moment? Why yes, the gentleman does have some time. I suppose that makes me the lady then. Oh, it's you. You've been following us for quite some time. Huh? He has? For how long? Since the Issei Grand Shrine, I believe. Truly, maybe you could try to keep me apprised of things like this in the future, Circe. It appears I wasn't as stealthy as I thought. My apologies for the indiscretion, but you see, the two of you piqued my interest. Foreigners in Issei Bay searching for mermaids. Gah! You overheard everything? How embarrassing. Avi, hollering won't lessen the embarrassment. But how rude of me. I ought to introduce myself. I am the event planner here in Issei City. My name is Kippi Ikoma. Oh, a fancy business card and everything. What a charming fellow. Let's see. Sayla Planning, eh? And it says here you're the CEO. Haha, I'm actually the only employee, so that title doesn't mean much. I see. I apologize for the rudeness, but I actually just ran out of business cards of my own. Did you ever have any? I had heard you need to carry business cards in Japan if you want to avoid looking suspicious, but I still forgot to bring any. But the freewheeling and forgetful man before you goes by the name Arnav Barnum, a fantasy author who is merely passing through. Do you believe me, or am I too suspicious? Without a business card for proof, the verdict is yours alone to make. So, you're an author, Mr. Barnum. Please, call me Avi. This is Circe. She has studied more Japanese history than even the average Japanese citizen. It's a pleasure. If you'd like, I can list the top 100 of Issei's best features at any time. Aren't you a delight? I was right to take an interest in the two of you. Director of Sala Planning, a venture company primarily focused on planning and producing tourism promotion events in Ise City. An ambitious young man, Kipe is both highly driven and extraordinarily tenacious when it comes to fulfilling his goals. He is currently planning a PR project themed on mermaids as a sightseeing attraction. About 6 years ago, with the support of wealthy tycoon Yoshiatsu Yamashina, Kipe moved to Ise from the countryside with nothing but the clothes on his back and an eye to making his fortune. This aggressiveness won him Yamashina's favor, and after several years spent building up experience as his assistant, the tycoon granted Kipe an investment with which he started his current company. Although Yamashina could be said to be particularly strict with them, this is a reflection of the high expectations he has for his future. Kipe is often told that he looks old for his age, but as this means he is not taken lightly when doing business, he sees it as an advantage. Yumeko had something to say about a Kipe in the last video, I think. Weird. Forgive me for my bluntness, but would you mind sparing me a few moments? I'd love to talk a little longer. I suppose that could be arranged. Gusts of wind graze this lovely observation deck. I thought she was totally absorbed in our sightseeing, yet she noticed we were being tailed. Impressive, if I do say so myself. Yeah, there's a clamp, so I can't move the camera around very much. What do you think, Cersei? Feels like a scammer who targets foreign tourists. Quite the blunt one, aren't you, young lady? Truth is, I'm currently planning a promotional tourism campaign for the Iseshima region. I was thinking of using mermaid legends as the centerpiece of the campaign. Mermaids, huh? I'm sure you are already quite aware of the mermaid legends of Ise Bay, yes? I thought we could hold events and exhibitions centered around such legends to attract tourists. I see, so that's why you are interested in mermaids. Additionally, the Iseshima region is also known for its pearls. I believe mermaids and pearls naturally complement one another. True, there is also the famous legend that a mermaid's tears turn into pearls when they are washed away by the ocean. Oh, such a story would do wonders for driving tourism to the area. So, this young man is actually a CEO, though I'm not sure if I'd call him young. His gaze has a piercing quality to it, and there's something off about his smile. Everything about him feels older than he looks. I believe these oversized suits, known as soft suits, are currently quite popular in Japan. Perhaps he is trying to be taken seriously as a CEO. He certainly is putting a lot of effort into his appearance. Does this project mean you are knowledgeable about mermaids in Ise then, Mr. Ikoma? I suppose it does. I know a fair bit. For example, there are some mermaid legends that most people have never heard of. Oh? Do share. A long time ago, there was an island south of Kamishima known as Taishima. Have you heard of it? I'm afraid I haven't. Rings a bell. It was also called Taishima by some. That's absolutely right. It is said that once upon a time, 3 mermaids lived on Taishima. Wow, 3 of them? Tell me, were they human mermaids or fish mermaids? Human mermaids? Well, I suppose their upper bodies were human, so I suppose you could describe them as such. I see, then that would separate them from the 3 mermaids discovered in Betsuho during the Heian period. Oh, this is the first I've heard of this tale. However, Taishima sunk about 400 years ago during a natural disaster. The mermaids seem to have vanished after that. What? That's such a shame. Regardless, it is said the 3 mermaids were named Sobe, Nagame, and Hayase. So, the mermaids were named too, huh? That definitely adds to the authenticity of the story. Pardon me, Mr. Ikoma. I never came across such concrete information. Where did you learn this? I don't blame you for questioning my sources. I also haven't managed to find any records of this tale. You see, the story was passed down through word of mouth. As it turns out, there was a single man who managed to escape the island's destruction. His descendants have kept this legend alive. Aha! Aha! So it's one of those descendants you heard the story from. That's right. They live a modest private life these days. When the story comes straight from a descendant like that, it does lend some credibility. I would love to inquire deeper about these Taishima mermaids. If you don't mind, could you share the identity of this descendant you speak of? My apologies, but I'm afraid I cannot oblige. She is not the friendliest sort. Frankly, even I have trouble getting her to open up. No matter how many times I visit her, I always feel like I'm only getting part of the story. I see. That's a real shame. Now, this might not be much consolidation, but I have another interesting rumor from this descendant to share. Oh? I'm all ears. Concerns one of the rumored Taishima mermaids. It is said that a few decades ago, one of those mermaids turned human and now lives among us. No kidding! She became human? It does ring a bell, though. Why, that is exactly like the story of the Little Mermaid. What an exciting discovery. You say this was only a few decades ago. That makes it quite recent. This former mermaid could even be walking among the people here as we speak. If the story is true, then yes. However, I'll concede that even I find the story hard to believe. It is a little fantastical. By the way, may I ask why you're searching for Ise Bay's mermaids, Avi? No particular reason. I just thought it'd be fun to wander through some sightseeing areas related to mermaid folklore, that's all. I see. Well, since you've traveled all the way to Japan to sightsee, I'd love to ask you some questions. Was there anything missing from the areas you visited that you think might have made your trip more enjoyable? What about those photo spots you put your face in? I know those. I love them. Really? Are they that interesting? They're a Japanese tourism classic. It would be nice to see more of them. Agreed. If I saw one, I would certainly take a photo with it. Oh, and please sell more of those little pennant flags. I can't resist them. I see. I truly appreciate the input, but perhaps things are fine as they are. Should you discover anything new regarding the area's mermaids, please let me know. Understood. We hope you'll do the same for us. Amazing. A brand new mermaid legend. The real question is why? Why? There's a long history of people making up legends to drive tourism. Such stories linger on despite their veracity being entirely unverifiable. I suppose. Is something the matter? It's nothing. It's nothing. Well, it is about time for us to get going. Yes, of course. Thank you, and I apologize again for taking so much of your time. Actually, since you've come all the way to Japan... If anything happens to you during your vacation here, or you need any other help at all, please feel free to give me a call. I'm quite familiar with all sorts of businesses in the area. For example, I could put you in touch with someone should you be looking to interview AWM divers. Oh, really? That's very kind. You're not just saying it as a formality, are you? A free-spirited lad like myself will not hesitate to take you up on an offer like this. I will call you. Please, do not hold back. I'll leave you two to your sightseeing. Please have a good time. If mermaids really did live on Taishima, it's certainly worth investigating. It's Ikoma's business card. He's the CEO of the event planning company we ran into earlier. Is that everything? A porcelain ashtray that came with the room. Ashtrays like these are found just about anywhere, so one can smoke without any worries. That being said, I've noticed people outside still simply dropping their cigarettes onto the ground. Well, I wasn't a smoker to begin with. Alright, before we move on, any stickers? Stickers? Dried flowers. I suppose this is the embodiment of the Japanese concept wabi-wabi, or however you say it. No flowers. This is the Murakamotai. It's a small inn located in Toba. It's a laid-back inn that feels more like a private residence than a hotel thanks to the attentive staff. I could barely count all the different fresh fish we were served for dinner last night. I have not felt so full in a while. A hanging scroll perfectly complements the tatami room. This room may not have a dedicated alcove, but the scroll still really ties the room together. How lovely. Each room is equipped with a mosquito trap. They tend to come in through the windows on hot days. It's a neat contraption. You just have to plug it in and place it, and it will kill any nearby mosquitoes. Traps like these are reliable, as well as easier and safer than the combustible type, so they've gotten quite popular. Not seeing any stickers. This is a poster advertising the island of Kamishima. I'd love to pay a visit to a remote island like that. The name is intriguing too. Ah, Kame means turtle, doesn't it? Light is passing through the windows. It's hot outside, so I'll leave them closed. My bag, a faithful travel companion of several decades. I'm not seeing anything else. Towel hanger? It may resemble an L-shaped dividing screen, but I think it is actually a towel rack. You're close. It's a small clothes rack. I see. So that's what it is. Yes. Normally it's used to hang kimonos, but this one is quite small, so I suppose it would work well for towels and other small garments. You're quite knowledgeable. Extra lights for the room. A lot of attention was paid to creating a comfy atmosphere for the guests. The door to our room. Outside is a hallway with a restroom and wash basin for communal use. Guests place their shoes in the cubbies at the entrance and wear slippers whilst inside the inn. This phone can only be used to call the front desk. Outside calls are impossible. I just can't shake this weird feeling. Huh? Why? Is there something wrong with the island? Or the poster? The poster, I believe. Do you mind if I take a closer look? My hunch was right. There's a presence here. No way. Come on. Don't scare me like that. Ready? Yes. Please proceed. You sure? Because I'll do it. I really will. There's no telling what may happen. Quit stalling. Hurt. Mockingbird number 3. We got a sticker. Dawn Heron. I worried yesterday that Cersei might struggle to sleep on just a futon in a tatami room like this, but she looks well rested, so I suppose she's used to it. I, on the other hand, was too excited to get much sleep. I found this map in the old family storage. It was left behind by my great-grandmother. She's your grandmother? That would make her my great-grandmother's sister. I heard she was exiled from the Lunarlight family because of her eccentricities. That's correct. She was quite fond of the occult and amassed a number of suspicious curios over her lifetime. As a child, I loved searching through the storehouse that housed her collection. It was like a treasure hunt of wonders, a demon's tail, a yeti's bone, a book of black magic, Ogopogo's tooth, a piece of a UFO, crystal skull. I cannot vouch that any of it was authentic, but it was still so exciting to look through. It's no exaggeration when I say that this very storehouse is what led me down the path of becoming a fantasy author. Suppose that's the kind of formative experience an occult writer needs. Just so, I have to thank my great-grandmother. She's the reason I can put food on the table. And among the items in that collection was this. I see, a mermaid mummy. Precisely, they were rather prevalent at sideshows and the like all over the world in the 19th century. Mermaid mummies from Japan were quite popular because of their high quality. A number of them even made their way to Europe. Huh. This one probably made its way to the family storage around that time. It was probably passed from one seller to another until it ended up in my great-grandmother's hands. How are you so sure it was made in Japan? Well, you see, I gave this mummy a thorough investigation. I even took it apart. Sure enough, it was made of wood and paper clay. But lo and behold, I also found this map inside. Truly? You found the map inside a mummy? Whoever made it all those years ago must have snuck the map inside. I doubt my great-grandmother had the slightest idea it was even in there. It's an incredible discovery. It is simply tantalizing, is it not? There is not a doubt in my mind that it will lead to the most thrilling discovery. So then, why did you call this a mermaid treasure map? Well, it was hidden inside a mermaid mummy, so it follows it must be a treasure map of sorts, no? See, your enthusiasm has carried you quite a ways from home. I'm impressed. Thank you. I have no doubt our treasure lies somewhere in Issei Bay. What a shame there is no X to mark the spot. Indeed, and this leads us to our first conundrum. Any ideas how to decipher this map, Circe? Put me on the spot, why don't you? But it does look like something is written here. Do you know what it says? Oh, that part. I actually did some research on that. Apparently it says, search the 95th. Search the 95th. That sure makes it sound like it leads to a secret location of some sort. Yes, and it must be related to mermaids. Aren't you just itching to find it? You know it. I knew it. I'm counting on you to help me solve the map's riddle. Oh, wait, I just remembered. You said you can douse, no? Can't you just douse for the treasure? Then we can skip the whole map and riddle business altogether. I apologize, but that's impossible. Truly? But why? Dowsing is usually used to find waterways, veins of ore, and other such things. My dowsing, however, can be used to find people and objects imbued with spiritual power. However, I must be familiar with the spiritual power that I'm looking for. I see. In other words, you wouldn't be able to find a treasure you've never seen or heard of. Yes, the distance from which I can detect the source also depends on how strong the spiritual power is. It's not quite the superpower I thought it was. I say, we've had enough of a diversion. Let's get back to investigating your map. Oh. Did you notice something? Looks like something's written on the other side. I see. I knew I must have missed something. I should carefully hold the edge when I want to look at the other side. Take a close look at all the spots on the back of the map. Oh, these? I dismissed them as a bunch of stains. Do you really think that's all they are? Something about these spots feels familiar. It's a map of Ise Bay. Judging from its condition, it's quite old. If I were to guess, I would say it is over 100 years old. No, perhaps even more than 200 years old. I wonder how old it really is. Look closer. Look closer. Isn't that Taishima? You're right. It depicts an island to the south of Kamishima. It's safe to assume this map was made before Taishima sank then. That makes it over 400 years old, made during the Sengoku period. Incredible. Eureka! Inspiration strikes. I think I figured it out. It's a bit hard to see what you mean when looking at the back of the map. Can you point at the front? Ah, you make a fair point. I may be less inspiration struck than I first assumed. I'll have to think on this a bit more. It's stars, right? Did you? Where's the treasure? I can't even tell what's... I may be less inspiration struck than I first assumed. I'll have to think on this a bit more. So these are the stars. These are the triangle, right? So it's here, down here, and then over here. The phrase "search the 95th" is written on the map around the location of Ise Province. I have no doubt. It is here. Behold. Huh? Why there? It felt right. I hope you don't mind me asking, but would you care to show me a more definite location? Dang it. I may be less inspiration struck than I assumed. So this one is on this island over here, right? And then this is the one that was in the Milky Way. So it's up here in the ocean. And then this one right here is like right here. So it should be like somewhere on these two islands. Location indicated on this map is well hidden. At least Circe is here if I need her assistance. I believe I've noticed something about the map. Would you like me to share my discovery? You have? Well, if you are so desperate to flaunt your wit, I suppose I could let you help me a bit. Let's start by thinking about what's written on the map. Remember how the 95th is written atop Ise Province? Do you recall a conversation we had yesterday? There was something related to Ise that had more than 95 parts. There was? Give your files another look, then ask me again if you're still struggling to understand. "100 famous Japanese scenic spots." Tales of Ise. So it's the Tales of Issei, and then the stars on the back are the, No? Okay. Do we have a thing for the stars? Does that mean you want another hint? To put it plainly, the 95th must be referring to an episode of the Tales of Issei. I know. Determine the title of the tale, then try to find it on the map. No. Hikaboshi. Is there somewhere where I can type that in? Okay, there's Kamishima. I see it. Am I supposed to know where Hikaboshi is? Because I don't. So that's that. And this is down here. I don't get it. What are you fucking doing? I understand the hint. Can you tell me where I'm supposed to look? back, yes. I know. I know. Back to the front of the map, okay. Can I put it on the window? There we go, okay. Not that one. This one? Oh, and what makes you say so? Why, it is simple. This very spot marks the answer to our riddle. Goboshi? Allow me to explain. You see, the 95th in the riddle must refer to the 95th tale in the Tales of Issei. And the title of that tale is none other than Hikoboshi. Next, note how the Summer Triangle constellation is drawn on the back. The location of Hikoboshi, or Altair, corresponds to this very spot on the map. You sure did. Don't let me take that away from you. Ah, I failed. I'll have to do better next time. No, I understood the riddle. I just didn't know you were supposed to look at it against the window. We may know where to look, but it's far too large an area to just start searching. Oh my god. To be frank, I didn't just come here to solve the map's riddle. My real goal is to find an actual mermaid. Oh yes, I had a feeling that was it. So you already knew. Exorcists sure have some keen instincts. What will you do if you find a mermaid? Do you want to become immortal? I suppose. Might as well. Considering all the trouble finding one will be. Your reasoning is unexpectedly uninspired. Simple though it may be, I find the idea quite romantic, akin to ascending to a new stage of humanity. Sure, I guess. I take it you disagree with my thinking, Cersei. I fail to see why my opinion should matter here. What you do is your decision to make. Though I'm not certain that an immortal can still be called human. Still, your decision is irrelevant to my duty, so I will not try to interfere. Actually, meeting an immortal would be a rare once-in-a-lifetime chance. Please transcend humanity and let me examine you. I'd prefer if you didn't speak of me like a research specimen, but I'll overlook it for now. Though I do wonder if immortality would actually bring you any happiness. When you look at old folk tales, it tends to be less of a blessing and more of a curse. Geez, don't say that after I already made up my mind and everything. Well, I'm sure you'll be alright. I don't know why she's slipping into Irish. I'm sure you'll be alright. If you tire of immortality, you need only embark on a journey, like a modern-day Yaobikuni. That is one way to look at it, though I think the nun part might be an issue. Well, I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. There's no immortality to be had till I find mermaid flesh to bite into. So let's start there. Understood. I'm also quite interested in finding a mermaid myself. Even if we were to search the area on the map, it's in the middle of the sea. How are we supposed to search a place like that? Looking for an unknown object somewhere on a large swath of seafloor seems like an impossible task. You're right. That does sound difficult. We might have to ask our friendly CEO for help. He did give us his card. However, wouldn't that mean we'd have to inform him of the map? No other way around it. In addition, should we find anything, I imagine he'll expect a share of the spoils. I really wanted to keep it all to myself. Sharing is the worst. I understand, but we have no other options. It's a shame. I suppose you're right. We should contact him as soon as we can. Alright, we got through one. We still have not seen a mermaid. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Alright, Treasure Hunt Part 2. Avi and Circe's quest for immortality is in full swing. Having pinpointed a likely location on their mysterious map, they ask Kippe Ikoma to investigate it on their behalf. However, the next day. Hello, this is Ikoma. I'm calling about the seafloor investigation. I asked a Nama diver to investigate the area because I was keen to get results as soon as possible. However, she has not returned. So this is one of the missing divers. Interesting. Which is why we're headed out there ourselves to assess the situation. We have nothing else to do after all. So you asked an Ama diver to investigate the seafloor in the area. I guess in a place like this it would be faster to hire an Ama than a regular diver. Even in this age, you can still get some Amas to do contracted dives, huh? It appears she was contracted to investigate for about an hour, at which point she was to return, even if empty-handed. I suppose the intent was just for her to survey the area to start with. However, several hours passed with no word from the diver. I can see why Ikoma is worried. We'll start by checking out the location. We can request a police search after if need be. Circe, do you have a bad feeling about this? I do, ever since we first heard about this. I see. There's a strong negative spirit energy in the air that has only intensified as we approach the spot. Something happened there. The diver didn't make it back. Is it safe for us to go? I have a talisman that repels evil. It should be fine. Well, if you say so. Worst comes to worst, we'll reunite in the afterlife. Understood. Leave it to me. There's something there. That must be the Ama diver's boat. There doesn't appear to be anyone around. How unsettling. You're right. There's something terrible here. Is it really that bad? It is. I can tell even from this distance. It's coming from the bucket. It's saturated with sinister spiritual energy. There's some real powerful curse inside. Inside the bucket? Does that mean the Ama diver found something on the seafloor and brought it up to the surface? And perhaps succumbed to the curse while trying to get it out? Yes, unfortunately. As we cannot say for certain what misfortune the curse may call forth, I need you to remain cautious. Can you dispel curses, Circe? It depends on the curse itself, but I believe I may be able to handle one of this caliber. That's a relief. Is it really safe for us to approach that boat, though? Yes, it's fine. For me, at least. Understood. If anything happens to me, then I'll leave the rest to you. Oh my! There's a small metal box in the bucket. This has to be the source. Can we take it? Yes, provided I can overpower the malice it's engulfed in. Ha! That was it. It should be safe to touch now. I'll leave that part to you. No problem. It's pretty heavy. What do you think this box is exactly? It appears to be quite old. It likely dates back to the same time period as your map. Here, take a look at the symbol on the top of the box. Do you recognize it from anywhere? I saw it on the map. Oh, this is that strange symbol we saw on the map. It's thus fair to say that the map was leading us toward this exact box. That only makes its identity all the more intriguing. There's some strange lines on the side. Perhaps it's some sort of pattern. It appears to open from the top, but it's not budging at all. It would take quite a lot of strength to force it open. I believe this box has been sealed with powerful spiritual energy. It was probably sealed by a skilled sorcerer a long time ago. I doubt it will open by any normal means. I can feel something shifting whenever I turn it. There must be some kind of mechanism inside. Then I suppose you'll want to align the box with the spiritual energy of this place. In English, please. It It is likely the mechanism for unlocking the box is activated by orienting the box in the right direction in the right order. I see, so I have to figure out where to point it. Leave it to me. Now then, how to open this metal box. I should investigate the box and rotate it so I can get a good look at all four sides. How do I know which side the mechanism is on? 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to orient the box in the right direction, but what is the right way? Patterns on the box's sides are quite intriguing. They must be related to the solution somehow. It's possible this area is the key to getting the box open, so we should try to figure it out before leaving. Got it. This is definitely the spot indicated by the map. Closest shore to us is the east side of the Shima Peninsula. You got a good view from here. I think I can see all the way from Ijika to Kuzukai. That's right. Both have a lot of Amma, but Kuzukai is especially known as the holy ground for Amma divers. The far shore we see here is Toba's Arashima and Uramura, I believe. I heard Uramura district's oyster harvest is so plentiful that you can find all-you-can-eat clam buffets from fall to winter there. Really? We should have come during a different season. I would have loved some fresh oysters. Far shore, near shore. Fishing boat. The boat of the Amma diver who found the metal box. There is not a trace of life left on it. According to Akoma, the Amma diver went to investigate alone without a companion to mind the boat. I swallowed my fear and tugged on the rope earlier on the off chance that she was still down there somewhere. I pulled up the whole length of rope, but no one was tied to it. The weather is great and the sea is calm, yet there's something unsettling in the air. Yeah, I feel it too. Are you trying to scare me? That island may look isolated, but it's actually Kamishima. There was a poster for it at the inn. Whoa. Whoa. What's so amazing about it? I can feel a horrible presence coming from all the way over here. Almost like some kind of curse. How can I best put it? Like some persistent, heavy grudge. I think it's coming from the island south. Looks quite normal to me. Is it really that bad? It is. I'd rather not go there. It'll make me feel sick. I thought getting rocked by the waves on a small boat like this might make her seasick, but she looks fine so far. I had no idea we'd encounter a curse today. It's a good thing Circe was here. Not entirely sure, but I think I figured out the mechanism. Should I tell you? Go ahead, I'm a broad-minded man. I was raised to accept help when it's offered. If you say so. On the bottom of each side of the box, there are between 1 and 4 dots, yes. Could it be that those dots indicate the order in which the box must be aligned? You might be onto something, so I solve the side with 1 dot first, then do the other 3 in the right order. That's what I suspect anyway. Good luck. Alright, got it. So, 1... It's gonna be somewhere in here. There. Oh, I felt something move inside the box. I must be on the right track. Nice. Keep at it. 2. Doesn't look right. Is it over here? All right, I'm on fire. That's 2. 3 is this one. It's here. I found it. Good job. Just one left. Where's just an island floating somewhere? I don't see this one. Is it the, Taishima? Yes, it's open. Congratulations. What's inside? Let's see. Huh? What is this? Some kind of small wooden carving? Oh! Curse stone acquired. Curse of the Forsaken Fish. Whoa, something came out. Yikes, what is this? Make it stop. A deep and painful, resentful memory has invaded my mind. Drift forever, ill-doers. Be as fish. Perish. You have acquired the Curse of the Forsaken Fish Curse Stone. You can use it to turn people into fish and kill them when they are submerged in the waters of Issei Bay. It can even be used at a distance, provided the target meets the requirements. Press the Use Curse button when you wish to use the curse. A curse born from the final moments of Hayase, a mermaid brutally tortured to death by humans on Taishima around 400 years ago. Ouch. The curse has the power to kill any human submerged in the waters of Issei Bay by gradually turning them into a fish starting from their feet. However, the excruciating pain suffered during the transformation often results in them dying before the metamorphosis is complete. Bodies of those who succumb to the curse decay almost instantly, shriveling up into desiccated, fibrous masses. The curse can also be triggered remotely, provided that the curse bearer knows their victim's exact location. Mermaids inherently possess the ability to turn humans into fish at will. The Curse of the Forsaken Fish is the result of that ability being turned into a conditional curse and sealed within a curse stone. We got to our first curse. Congratulations, guys, we did it. Ha! Ha! What the hell was that? I'm not certain. But I believe we may have just acquired a cursed tool known as a curse stone. However, they are rarely possessed by such powerful curse echoes. How lucky. If you truly are congratulating me, then I'll happily celebrate with you. But can I ask you something first? Of course. Am I cursed? Am I going to die? I wouldn't say you are cursed per se. There was a similar case in Tokyo last year. Hold on for a minute. I cannot think straight. This is far too overwhelming. An incredible amount of information flooded my mind just now. I need a moment to settle before I can take in anything else. You must mean the resentful memory held by the curse. It's a phenomenon wherein the events leading up to the curse forming are passed on to the curse bearer so that its gradual spread. Oh, and curse bearer refers to someone who is haunted by a curse echo and thus able to use the curse. Stop! I already told you I can't take any new information. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Curse echoes are the visual manifestation of curses. These manifestations are fundamentally related to the origin of the curse, but they do not always take the same shape, sometimes appearing in a more abstract or disfigured form instead. Unlike spirits, they are manifested illusions, and as such have no consciousness of their own. A person afflicted by a curse that has a curse echo is called a curse bearer. Even among curses, a curse that contains a curse echo should be considered very powerful in and of itself. Ordinarily, those with no spirit sense would not be able to perceive a curse echo, but such individuals who become curse bearers by coming into possession of a curse stone or some other means can see other curse echoes. A type of curse tool that allows even people without any spirit sense to wield curses. As long as the tool meets the above criteria, items of any shape or size may be referred to as a curse stone. Many curse stones have conditions that must be fulfilled to use them, often based on the spiritual power, characteristics of the curse itself. If a curse stone has low spiritual power, it may only be possible to use under specific circumstances, such as when under the influence of the Feast of Shadows, a spell that heightens the potency of certain types of spiritual energy. I think I just learned why Taishima sunk 400 years ago. Let me sort out all of that first. Really? Tell me. Yeah, give me a minute. Thank you for investigating the situation for me. I was involved in an accident many years ago, so I can't bring myself to go out to sea anymore. You've been a tremendous help. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We actually got our hands on something quite valuable, so we owe you a thanks as well. That's great. I'd love to hear more about what you discovered if you don't mind. Of course. We're currently at the mouth of Kamo River. There's a residential area further upstream. It seems Mr. Akoma had just arrived in Toba, so he managed to meet up without any problems. Nothing on the bridge. Even when a curse fell into our lap, she managed to remain calm. Only a consummate professional like her could be so cool and collected with all that's happened. Will he believe us if we suddenly start talking about curses? Can we just not bring it up? You think you can explain it all without bringing them up? Well, we'll see how far we get. He may look scary, but his demeanor is surprisingly gentle and kind. He's a very polite young man. People like him tend to be misunderstood because they're a little awkward. He must struggle with that kind of thing a lot. Did he eat the flesh of a mermaid and he got a new body? Is that why he's apparently the person who was murdered? The diver I hired to perform the search was an Ama diver living in Toba City by the name of Tomiko Suma. I thought there was no way we could pull off the search, but that's when she agreed to take on my request. I feel terrible about what happened. I can only hope that she's still out there somewhere, unharmed. She had no way of knowing how dangerous this job was. Please, I'm the one who sent her out there. If there is blame to take, it is mine. But still, what exactly happened out there? About that, let's start with this metal box the Ama diver found. Please do. It appears Miss Suma decided to take on my commission alone and set out to see it by herself. Perhaps things would have ended differently if there had been a boatman with her. So basically, this is the wooden carving we found inside the metal box. I see, so your map indicated the location of this wooden carving. We believe so. The question is why? Why go all the way to not just hide it, but to conceal the map in a mermaid mummy? How very intriguing. I suppose a carving like that would have had some value back in the day, but to go through all the effort to preserve it like this. I believe what was preserved was not the carving itself, but the mermaid's memory that was stored inside the curse. Dun dun dun. A curse? Dun dun what now? That's right. In other words, the one who made that box entrusted it with a message, and we are the recipients. Please calm down. I'm feeling quite lost. I know you're excited, but I think we have no choice but to start explaining the curse. That's right. It's curse chit-chat time. You may be a bit too rational to believe what I am about to tell you, Mr. Akoma. Even so, I ask that you try your best. Huh. If you're ready to hear it, I'm ready to say it. Come, give me your answer in the next 3 seconds. 3. I'm prepared. Please tell me. I see. So the Taishima mermaid known as Hayase was killed by raiders. The hatred she left behind became a curse that entered this wooden carving. You, Ave, then inherited her curse in addition to information from 400 years ago in the form of a resentful memory. Excuse me. You absorbed all of that quite efficiently. I'm impressed. This is actually not the first time I've heard of what can happen if one touches a curse stone. Oh? Yes, but let's save that conversation for later. More importantly, you know what actually went down on Taishima 400 years ago. That's right. I know the truth. All of it. What happened. What didn't. I know it. You seem a bit frazzled. Do you need more time to collect your thoughts? There's no need to worry. I'm prepared, but it will take some time to explain. It's time to reveal what truly happened 400 years ago to Taishima and the mermaids. Please, do tell. Around 400 years ago, the area of Ashima province, which included Taishima, was governed by the Kuki clan. The leader of the clan at the time was Kuki Sumitaka, and it was his duty to protect the secret of the three mermaids living on Taishima. That must have been Sobe, Nagame, and Hayase. However, the legend that eating mermaid flesh could grant immortal life was well known, so he secretly hid them on Taishima so no one would learn about their existence. It appears that Sumitaka thought of the mermaids as sacred or divine existence. The thought of seeking immortality for himself likely never crossed his mind. The land where the mermaids lived was a sanctuary that he fiercely protected at all costs. In other words, Taishima was an island where people worshipped the mermaids in secret. Indeed, it meant the people living on the island were not simple commoners, but guards tasked with protecting the sanctuary and its mermaids. Sumitaka was so dedicated to keeping the mermaid secret that he kept the existence of Taishima out of historical records. The public believed that this island was entirely uninhabited. I see. By keeping its existence hidden, he was able to keep the mermaids safe. However, a vassal of Sumitaka's uncle Yoshitaka learned about the mermaids on Taishima. He passed that information on to Yoshitaka, who believed obtaining immortality was a must to rise to the top in an era that was often plagued by war. He commanded his vassal to lead his army to Taishima and do whatever he had to do to return with the flesh of a mermaid. Sumitaka and those on the island resisted, but the invading army was far too powerful. The island was swiftly overrun. Ultimately, Hayase was captured and brought before the vassal. The vassal tortured her, demanding she grant him the power of immortality. But Hayase did not yield, even to the most hellish torments. She screamed and cursed with despair and anger until her dying breath. It's horrible. The hatred Hayase felt at the moment of her death led to the creation of the curse of the Forsaken Fish. And that is what I learned from the resentful memory inside the curse stone. But to be honest, that is only half. Half of what? Half of the memories. The other half is the memories of the one who left behind the metal box. Namely, the story of how the curse of the Forsaken Fish became a curse stone. That reminds me, I meant to ask about the metal box. If it's been lying on the seafloor for 400 years, how come it wasn't discovered until now? It was most likely sealed inside a rock or something until a few months ago. So it was sealed away until a certain amount of time had passed. No, I believe the box's unsealing may have been triggered by something. Having failed to obtain immortality, the vassal flew into a rage. He had all inhabitants of Taishima slaughtered as revenge for keeping the secret. This guy was the worst. Wust. Finally, he continued his advance into the sanctuary the islanders had protected down to the last man. There, he destroyed its shrine. What irony that he came so close to the secret he had been so desperate to find. Are you saying the other two mermaids were still in the sanctuary? No, they had already fled Taishima. Actually, there were two other survivors. Sumitake's adopted daughter, Princess Hatsune, also escaped the chaos of the invasion unscathed. There was one other islander who managed to survive as well, taking with him the treasure the mermaids had protected. The mermaid's treasure. This may shed some light on the descendant you spoke of earlier. Of course, she must be a descendant of the man that escaped that day. We now know she was correct when she spoke of the three mermaids living on Taishima. So we do. Putting descendants aside for now, let's return to 400 years ago. The vassal's invasion and destruction of the sanctuary was like a trigger. As a reaction to the sanctuary's fate and their own ill-deserved deaths, the sorrow and hatred of the islanders swirled together and formed into the curse of the raging waves, a natural disaster that shook the heavens when it descended upon Taishima. The curse bombarded Taishima with violent winds, earthquakes, and thunder. Then, in a final act to protect Taishima's lost sanctuary, they sank it into the sea to destroy all evidence of it ever existing. They destroyed it. The small island of Taishima sunk swiftly under the waves. The vassal and all of his men were, of course, all killed thanks to the curse. But one problem remained. That wasn't the end of it. Taishima was destroyed by the natural disasters caused by the curse of the raging waves. But the calamity continued for many days. It must have seemed as though it would never end. Can't imagine how terrifying it must have been. Sumitaka even sought out a famous onmyoji to dispel the curse, but he was unsuccessful. The curse would eventually sink to the bottom of the sea alongside the sanctuary and be sealed there. Only then did the calamity end. Yet it appears this curse was so powerful that it required a sacrifice to be truly sealed. Sacrifice. Not just any sacrifice, but a living one. Princess Hatsune offered herself up to be that sacrifice. You said she was Sumitaka's adopted daughter, yes? And that she lived on Taishima? That appears to be the case. Sumitaka was evidently so taken with her that he decided to adopt her. The rumor that she threw herself down a well was likely spread to cover up the real cause of her death. So, Princess Hatsune was actually sacrificed. I can't believe that Hatsune Miku did that. The seal would hold for 400 years. They must have hoped that the curse itself would fade during that time too. However, the curse of the forsaken fish created by Hayase also continued to linger in the same place. So the onmyoji sealed it inside the wooden carving, turning it into a curse stone. Then the same onmyoji, knowing that the seal would only last 400 years, stored his memories within the curse stone to pass on this information. He wished to pass down his knowledge for others to use in the event the curse outlasted the 400-year lifespan of the seal. He left behind instructions on how to completely dispel the curse of the raging waves. Indeed, I've compiled it all in my files. Curse of the Raging Waves, a curse that caused an outbreak of turbulent waves and violent storms in the seas around Kamishima. It's said that the curse was born from the resentment of the former residents of Taishima, an island once located to the south of Kamishima, after someone brought about its destruction. Some believe that several of the disasters have struck Kamishima in the past were actually caused by this curse in some manner, including the Kamishima South Sea disaster that occurred 5 years ago. The person accused of bringing the curse to Kamishima was called the Raging Waves Curse Bearer and was shunned by the island's inhabitants. In truth, the curse has been perpetually active ever since its inception. The sacrifice offered 400 years ago merely served to seal the source of the calamity during this time. It is believed that Mari Minakuchi attempted to lift the curse once and for all, only for her failure to give rise to the disaster 5 years ago. In the event that the curse did not fade during the 400 years it was sealed, the onmyoji originally responsible for sealing the curse left behind a plan to dispel it. It was his belief that the curse's power would have weakened enough by that point that performing the following steps would be enough to lift the curse completely. First, thou must unbind my seal, risen from the depths with the iron box. Second, thou must offer the still-tied mirror bequeathed by the sacrifice to the sanctuary. So we have the mirror. Third, let those who share blood with the lost souls of Taishima be the ones to offer appeasement. And the lost souls of Taishima would be Yuza, what's his name? Yuza, there's 3 of them. There's 3 survivors. Ikoma. Oh, so that's what happened. And that wraps it up. I got all that info beamed into my brain in a flash, and yet I still managed to present it as an enticing narrative, eh? How amazing was that? You're utterly astounding. Incredible. Around 400 years ago, during the Sengoku period, Oda Nobunaga was assassinated at Honnoji Temple. Kuki Yoshitaka, commander of the Kuki Navy, had steadily been gaining influence within the clan, but he now found himself at a crossroads in an era still racked by the turmoil of war. It was then that the vassal of the Kuki clan, Komatsu Sadamune, approached him with some intriguing information. According to Sadamune, 3 mermaids were said to be living on Taishima under the protection of some of the island's residents, even though the island was originally thought to be uninhabited. It was widely known through folklore that eating the flesh of a mermaid granted one immortality and eternal youth. Sadamune urged Yoshitaka to take advantage of this, suggesting that if he possessed such power, an invincible army would be his to command. Seeing this as the opportunity he had been waiting for, Yoshitaka ordered Sadamune to capture the mermaids and bring them back to him. However, Kuki Sumitaka, Yoshitaka's nephew and head of the clan at the time, strongly opposed his approaching Taishima. It was in fact Sumitaka who had been secretly protecting the mermaids on Taishima, believing the mermaids to be messengers of the gods and the island a sacred sanctuary. He had worked to keep them isolated from outside influence. His adopted daughter, Princess Hatsune, was also living in hiding on Taishima at the time for other reasons, which further strengthened his opposition to Yoshitaka's plan. However, it was not long before Komatsu Sadamune learned of this. He reported to Yoshitaka that Sumitaka was not only planning to keep the mermaids for himself, but was also secretly moving to build an army of his own. Infuriated by what he perceived as an act of rebellion, Yoshitaka gave the order for Sadamune to prepare a military invasion of Taishima. Upon receiving the order, Komatsu Sadamune immediately set sail for Taishima at the head of a large army. Caught off guard by the unexpected attack, Sumitaka scrambled to send out his own forces in an attempt to resist, but was unable to prevent the enemy from landing. In the blink of an eye, the once peaceful and beautiful landscape of Taishima was transformed into a nightmare. The islanders, guardians of the sacred land, desperately fought back, but they stood no chance against seasoned soldiers hardened by years of battle on the front lines, and one after another they fell before the invaders. Sadamune ordered that even women and children be cut down without mercy, and soon the waters around Taishima ran red with blood. Sadamune's forces swept across the island, searching every inch for signs of the mermaids as they pressed their assault. Finally, they discovered a mermaid in hiding by the name of Hayase and captured her. Sadamune demanded that she make his troops immortal, but the mermaid staunchly refused, even as Sadamune turned to torture, inflicting unspeakable pain with every refusal. The torture escalated, until eventually even her supernatural nature was not enough to withstand the torment. On the brink of death and resigned to her fate, Hayase gave a final terrible cry, overflowing with resentment and anger as she breathed her last. Sadamune ordered his men to take the flesh from her body, but as they moved to do so, a strange phenomenon began to occur. All the soldiers who approached her body began to transform into fish, their bodies decaying rapidly as the transformation took hold. Hayase had cast a curse upon them with her dying breath. With the one mermaid Sadamune had captured dead and his forces decimated, he began a mad search of the island in pursuit of the remaining two mermaids. Eventually, he found a deep cave in the interior of the island that extended far beneath the earth, reaching down to the sea floor. In the deepest part of the cave was a shrine, and a door with a powerful seal over it he couldn't open no matter how hard he tried. Convinced this had to be the entrance to the sacred land, the home of the mermaids, Sadamune gathered all his remaining gunpowder and artillery and unleashed it on the door, destroying both it and the shrine in the process. The next moment, a violent tremor wrecked the entire island, and the skies above were engulfed by a storm. The repercussions of his desecration of the sacred land and the resentment of the islanders he had senselessly slaughtered blended together, unleashing an all-consuming calamity that seemed to shake the very heavens and earth. Ravaged by fierce earthquakes and vicious storms, Taishima sank beneath the waves, as if nature itself sought to protect the sacred land by erasing all traces of its existence. Thus were Taishima and the sacred land, along with Sadamune and his army, lost to the sea in an instant. The only survivors of this tragedy were two mermaids and two islanders that had successfully made their escape from the island. Hayase had, in fact, stayed behind as bait to allow the others to escape. The two surviving islanders were Princess Hatsune and the man named Somikawa, who had been assigned the duty of protecting a relic important to the mermaids. However, the tale did not end with the sinking of Taishima. Sumitaka eventually made it to the seas near the island, but a fierce anger and resentment darkened the waters around it, and the curse born from those dark emotions, the curse of the raging waves, had given rise to a storm that continued to rage even several days after the incident. Furthermore, the curse born from Hayase's final moments, the curse of the forsaken fish, also continued to exert its influence on the area, causing anyone who entered the storm's domain to transform into a fish. The situation had grown beyond anyone's ability to control. Sumitaka, looking for a solution, turned to Tsuchi Mikado Harukage, a renowned onmyoji and a friend of Princess Hatsune. After conducting an investigation, Harukage concluded that the source of the curse was the sacred land, now sunk beneath the waves. Although the curse was too powerful to dispel, it would be possible to seal the sacred land by offering up a sacrifice, thereby suppressing its calamitous effects. The seal would last for 400 years, by which time he anticipated the curse of the raging waves would dissipate. Hearing this, Princess Hatsune volunteered to sacrifice herself in the hopes that it would bring peace to the souls of the islanders who had looked after her during her time on Taishima. With her noble sacrifice, the storm at last died down, and peace was restored to the seas around the island. A bronze mirror in Princess Hatsune's possession at the time was imbued with the power to serve as a talisman to calm the raging waves, and was passed from person to person over the years, eventually making its way to Kamishima. Tsuchi Mikado Harukage Harukage was also able to seal the curse of the Forsaken Fish in the wooden accessory that Princess Hatsune had been wearing, turning it into a curse stone. Harukage used these resentful memories contained within the curse stone to create a record of the event, which he sealed within a heavily locked iron box before concealing it on a rock on a seabed. In the event the curse of the raging waves had not abated even after 400 years, he made it so that the seal on the rock would be lifted at the same time as the seal on the sacred land, so that the record of what had happened and the method of undoing the curse would make its way to future generations. Meanwhile, to protect the sacred land and the mermaids, Sumitaka ensured all records of Taishima were erased, so no mention of the island or of the disaster that had befallen it would make its way into historical accounts. He also concocted a tale in which Princess Hasune had thrown herself down a well in defiance of a political marriage in order to conceal her sacrifice. Afterwards, Kuki Yoshitaka, infuriated not only by his failure to obtain immortality, but also by the loss of his primary military force, murdered Sumitaka, who opposed him to the very end, and seized control of the Kuki clan in both name and nature. He had his vassals search the area around Taishima countless times after that, but it is said that they found neither the mermaids nor any trace of their existence. That was a mouthful. All right. I compiled all the details of the story in these files, so feel free to go over it at your own pace. Oh, thank you. After Miss Suma found the metal box, you mean to tell me she's dead? She's dead. It is likely. If we consider that the curse of the Forsaken Fish had completely saturated the metal box, it's likely already too late for her. How horrible. Since she likely turned into a fish and died soon after, there is a high chance her transformed body will wash up on the shore soon. We're in Akoma's debt. I suppose we ought to tell him everything we've learned. Wait a second. Something wrong? Avi, if someone is affected by the curse of the Forsaken Fish, the transformation starts at the feet and travels slowly up, yes? I believe so, though it's hard to say for sure without witnessing it. If it is true, then that may explain the true identity of the fish mermaids discovered in this area. Could have been the bodies of those who died in the middle of transforming, due to the curse of the Forsaken Fish. Oh, that's a convincing theory. Fish mermaids have been recorded as having only human heads or faces, or appearing human just from the chest and shoulders up. If the curse starts at the feet and travels upward, that would explain the variety of fish mermaids that have appeared. The process is so painful that most die mid-transformation. Then the curse causes the corpse to rapidly wither, forming a fibrous mass. Gah! May even be the true identity of your mermaid mummy. Interesting. Still, without analyzing it directly, there is no way to know for certain. But perhaps this is why the mermaid mummies originated from Japan are of such high quality. Of course, that doesn't mean that all fish mermaids and mermaid mummies are authentic. But it means there's a possibility. Any number of fish mermaids could actually be victims of this curse. Actually, I just remembered there were 2 points from your tale I wanted to discuss. About the events 400 years ago? My first point concerns the vassal who tortured the mermaid in an attempt to obtain immortality. If all he needed was the mermaid's flesh, what necessity would there be in torturing her? Oh, that's true. Could mean that the vassal ate the mermaid's flesh but did not become immortal, so he tortured her to figure out why. As for the second observation, I have a theory that the area you described as the sanctuary. Could it possibly be referring to an entrance to Ryugu? Ryugu. It is sometimes also referred to as the eternal world, or the world beyond. In some legends, mermaids are priestesses who serve the ruler of Ryugu, the god of the sea. I see. If the sanctuary was actually an entrance to Ryugu, then that could mean the mermaids were not living on Taishima, but merely traveling there from Ryugu. Yes, I believe that to be the case. It would also explain why the destruction of the sanctuary would inspire the fury of the god of the sea. To be honest, it's difficult to believe that the grudges of the inhabitants of Taishma would be enough to explain what happened. How could they possibly engender a curse more powerful enough to sink an island and linger for more than 400 years? However, it's quite easy to believe that a curse from Ryugu could contain such power. That also explains the necessity of living sacrifice. Of course, one would be required to seal an entrance to Ryugu. But if the entrance to Ryugu was sealed, what became of the two mermaids that fled Taishima? I doubt Sobe and Nagami managed to return to Ryugu. I believe they have been living here in the human world for the past 400 years, waiting for the seal to be lifted. They just hid somewhere away from human eyes. If that's true, then they've been successfully hiding for over 400 years. Of course, if they were to hide themselves at the bottom of the sea, it'd be practically impossible to find them. It is also possible they've been wandering the globe rather than lingering in one place. That could explain all the mermaid sightings around the world. They could all be these same two. Ah, all this discussion of hiding made me realize something. What is it? Do you recall the story Mr. Akoma told us yesterday of the mermaid who became human? Ah. Are you suggesting she decided to join the human society because she could not return to Ryugu? It's a possibility we should consider. But that occurred only a few decades ago. Why would she decide to become human just before the seal was released? Perhaps her circumstances changed. We can only speculate on the motivations of someone who has lived for centuries. It is possible she did not feel compelled, but decided to become human out of her own desire. Could she have met someone she wanted to live a mortal life with, like in The Little Mermaid? That is certainly possible, and quite romantic, too. I'll have to write this down. Could make a solid novel. Oh, I've just realized something. What is it? You heard about this mermaid from the descendant of the Taishima survivor, yes? That's correct. I feel it's only right that they are informed of the things we learned. We'd love to talk to her. We're quite curious about this mermaid treasure, too. Must have been passed down to them through generations. I understand. I'll probably drop by her place later anyway. Since I also have to handle the matter with Miss Suma, I'll discuss it with her then. Thanks. That'd be great. That said, in return, I have a favor to ask of you. Go ahead. We'll do whatever we can. You said the seal over the entrance to Ryugu has been lifted, is that correct? Yes, it has most likely been gone for several months now. Huh? Really? A horrible curse has been swirling around the area where Taishima used to be. It's possible that curse is the curse of the raging waves, and it's surged up from Ryugu once more now that the seal has been lifted. The fact we were able to open the middle box is proof enough that the seal has faded. That would mean the entrance to Ryugu is open now. Well, the situation is quite unstable now, what with the curse of the raging waves seeping in through the entrance. At any rate, what did you want us to do? There is an island called Kamishima that was located quite close to where Taishima once was. There is something I would like you to do for me there. This request does in fact have some relation to our current conversation. Oh. Now then, Avi. We decided to tell Akoma everything, but I know there is some information you kept from him. Oh, did I? Yes, something from the mermaid's memories. The real way to obtain immortality. That's right. I saw no reason to inform him about it. After all, no matter what he may say about tourist attractions, this guy is also after immortality. I saw him straighten up when you talked about the mermaid being tortured because her captor required more than her flesh for immortality. Are you sure? I thought his goal, even if he even had one, was to quell the curse of the raging waves. Perhaps there's that too. He even asked us to go to Kamishima and find the still-tide mirror in his stead. You did mention lifting the curse required the mirror as well as the help of the Taishima descendant, right? There was also something about lifting a seal first, but I don't know what that part's all about. Well, I see no harm in quelling the curse, so I say we continue to cooperate for now. Agreed, though I do wish we did not have to approach Kamishima at all. The evil atmosphere is nauseating. However, we must consider the possibility that Ikoma actually has his eyes set on the mermaids in Ryugu. It's possible he may be searching for mermaids like us. I suppose the discussion can wait until later. First, we must find the treasure that the survivor managed to slip out of Taishima. You mean the treasure acquired in addition to mermaid flesh when attempting to gain immortality? Yes, it's treasure known as the Tamate Bako. Mermaid flesh has to be put inside and purified by it to have any effect. So provided one has both the flesh of a human mermaid and Tamate Bako, then immortality is indeed attainable. Boom. A box often referred to as a relic used by the mermaids who once lived near Taishima. A similar box also made its appearance in the tale of Urashima Taru as the box gifted to the eponymous protagonist by Otohime, leading to its name becoming widely known. The box is filled with a spiritual energy similar in nature to that which fills Ryugu, the mermaid's original home. Objects placed within it may thus be kept in the same state they would be within Ryugu. It is said that the mermaids used the box to bring objects from Ryugu with them when they would otherwise have been unable to transport to the immaterial world. But it also has the secondary effect of returning mermaid flesh, normally only able to exist in a transient state in the material world, to the state it would be in Ryugu, thereby restoring its ability to grant immortality. If we could meet with Taishima descendant, they could probably provide us with information on the Tamate Bako. I concur. If we could get our hands on the Tamate Bako, we wouldn't have to worry about it, Ikoma. However, it's likely he is wary of us and will keep us from meeting this descendant. At the very least, we know he's cautious enough to keep her name secret. Well, that's why I asked him to hand her our little souvenir. Ah, what was that all about anyway? You're sure we're not going to need that iron box? I doubt we will need it again. Plus, you can think of it as a backup plan. Regardless of what happens, we'll be able to meet with the descendant tomorrow. Let's get our hands on that mermaid treasure. Time to find a Tamate Bako. Okay. We got a new Yomeko. Oh, I should have read that. The Tamate Bako, a treasure required to obtain immortality. Avi assumes that the descendant of Taishima, whom Ikoma knows, has inherited it. He tries to scheme a way to meet them. Hello again! Arnav Barnum's back on the scene. Allow me to summarize. As expected, Ikoma contacted us today, telling us we'd have to wait a little longer before we could meet the descendant. Thus, figuring he had no intention of letting us meet her anyway, we decided to use Cersei's ability to go looking for the descendant ourselves. Who exactly are you talking to? I'm merely setting the scene. Really feels like it raises stakes, no? Makes it feel more like a thrilling adventure. Sure. You got me all worked up. But I'm trying to concentrate, so could you please stop distracting me? Oh, right, sorry. Sticker? No sticker? I don't see a sticker. This is the town of Ijika in Toba City. The area is one of many in the area renowned for its Ama divers. I don't see anything. Is the ocean? No. Cersei is completely focused on dowsing right now. There are several types of dowsing techniques, but it seems like she's using a pendulum. It would seem that the necklace she wears can be used for such a purpose. The closer you get to the target, the stronger the pendulum swings. She seems focused. Best not to interrupt her now. Cersei is using her dowsing ability to search for the descendant right now. What's that? Doesn't her dowsing only let us look for spiritual energy? And on top of that, doesn't she have to be familiar with the energy she's looking for? That's right, I was thinking the same thing. However, Cersei was perfectly prepared. Before parting with Akoma yesterday, she asked him to hand the iron box to the descendant when he paid her a visit. She said the descendant ought to have it, since it is so deeply connected to Taishima's history. Akoma agreed on the matter and would apparently go through with it, assuming he did hand it over. Then the iron box with its massive amount of spiritual energy has fallen right into the lap of our target. Now, Cersei just has to use her dowsing to locate the box. At least, that's the plan. However, her dowsing's range is limited. With the spiritual energy the iron box possesses, its range is probably just 2 to 3 kilometers. So we had to narrow down the target area somewhat before starting our search. Flashbang. So, any idea where we might start looking for the descendant? I think... Mr. Akoma said something about visiting her several times before she finally agreed to talk, didn't he? He did, which would mean that she must live close enough for him to have paid her frequent visits. Yes, exactly. So I think it'd be best to start by searching the towns within Toba. I see. But there are quite a few towns in the area, right? About that, when we partied yesterday, Mr. Akoma mentioned something else that stuck with me. When you asked to meet the descendant, he said he'd probably drop by later anyway, since he also had to handle the matter with Miss Suma. Ah, right, he did say that. So basically... that means the descendant and Suma knew each other. No. He said it like he was going to drop by on his way over, which means they likely live close to each other. I thought it was going for the descendant is also an Amma diver. What? Sorry, but you've lost me. Anyway, it means we should target the areas that are most populated by Amma divers. So that means we should probably start by searching all the towns in Toba that are home to a lot of Amma divers. That's right. That's right. We can make our way up by searching along the coast for starters. It'd be nice if we'd at least learn the descendant's name. We might have a lead on that. Think of your research into the past of this place. All right. I believe the name was Somakawa. Somakawa. That's what Taishima's survivor is called. If there are any descendants, then they may still bear the same name. That's right. It's another clue we can follow. And so we ended up spending the morning traveling along the coast from the one fishing town to another. This is the 4th town we've searched so far. It's about time we actually find something. So Cersei, what's the situation? Want to give it a try? Huh? Really? Will it still work if it's me? I'll still be holding the pendulum, but you can see for yourself if you'd like. Color me intrigued. I'm in. All right, just like this. I'll hold the pendulum, direct me to move in different directions to see where it reacts. Very well, bring it on. Pendulum won't respond right away, so the trick is to point it in one direction and wait a while. Once you find the spot where it reacts the strongest, just shout that you figured it out. Got it. When it comes to yelling, I'm your guy. I can see it swinging. I don't understand if that's significant or not. There, right there. You got it. So that means it's somewhere up there. Well, it may still be a bit further out, but at least we figured out what direction to go. I knew it was about time we hit the right spot. All right, let's follow this thing and see where it leads us. Right. Right then. This is it. It's the apartment furthest back on this building's ground floor. Got it. Hello? Anybody home? Wow. You don't hesitate, huh? We're here on behalf of Mr. Ikoma. No answer. Guess no one's home. No, I can sense presence. Hello? We'd like to talk about the iron box. What is it? Ah, you two. Avi and Cersei, is it? So you're the ones who found the iron box. Yes, that's right. You know, I've never talked to foreigners before. I'm so nervous I can hardly think straight. Please, no needs to be so tense, Miss Somikawa. I promise we're both harmless and cheerful. Right. So, this is Miss Somikawa's home. Even with the lights on, it's strangely dark inside. Even though it's daytime, the shutters are kept tightly shut. You can hardly hear any noise from outside either. No stickers. At a quick glance, I can't spot anything that looks like a tomate bako in the room. I suppose it makes sense she wouldn't just keep it out in the open. She may look calm on the surface, but I know she must be excited to speak inside a traditional Japanese home. Well, a wooden apartment like this is pretty old school. I can see why she'd be geeking out. So, she is a descendant of the last Taishima survivor. The way she dresses makes her look older, but I'd say she's probably around my age. I thought she'd be difficult to deal with, but now that we've actually met her, I'd say it's more like she's extremely cautious, the type to never let her guard down. I can't even begin to imagine the kind of life she's led. Still, the fact that she's wearing traditional clothing is actually quite charming. I've hardly seen anyone wearing traditional clothes since coming to Japan, which was a bit of a shock to be honest. Allow me to emphasize what an honor it is to meet a descendant of Taishima. Huh. Who's to say it's even true? I suppose your family must have lived in this town for generations. Nah, I moved here a couple years back. Oh, why is that? It's got nothing to do with the two of you. Ah, fair enough. Then if you don't mind me asking, do you have any other family or relatives, Miss Somikawa? Why? Apologies, I was merely wondering if there are any other descendants. Don't know, but I'm probably the only one left. That too will come to an end soon enough. Oh, what do you mean by that? No more than what I said. So, do you live here by yourself, Miss Somikawa? That's right. Where exactly did you come across the iron box? I followed this map that was in my family's possession. Supposedly, it was left behind by the Onmyoji who sealed away the curse of Taishima. A map, you say? It led us to the iron box. It must have been resting at the bottom of Ise Bay. Since it's such a valuable artifact deeply connected to Taishima's lost history, we felt we absolutely had to tell you about it, Miss Somikawa. Oh yeah? If I may say so, I noticed your interest in the iron box. Could it be you already knew of its existence? I didn't know it was a box, but I'd been told something still remained of the island. That makes sense. Speaking of that box, I don't suppose there was something inside. Yes, inside was a record detailing how Taishima was destroyed, along with information on the curse of the raging waves. A record. Oh, allow me to fill you in on the details. And that sums it up. Such a horrid man, wouldn't you say? Massacring the people of Taishima because he wanted to find a mermaid that bad. The grudges left behind by the events coalesced into two separate curses, and ultimately, Taishima was destroyed along with everything else. I'm sure it must be excruciating to hear the tale of how your ancestors' home was destroyed. But I believe the story should be passed down so people can learn of Taishima's true history. Wouldn't you agree? And that was all recorded in that box. So glad we got a chance to talk with her. She realizes that we're after the Tamade Bako, it'll only make her more cautious. By the way, you may consider this the curious whims of a fantasy author, but would you be able to elucidate me on some of the stories that have been passed down in your family? Now I get it. You also came here because you want to ask about mermaids, eh? Alright, you got me, it's true. But can you blame me? As a fantasy author, it is my blood. If mermaids truly do exist, then I must sate my curiosity. Huh, I knew it. Whatever your motives, you're not getting the Tamade Bako. I'm not falling for one of Ikoma's schemes. Ah! Did you just say that Ikoma is after the Tamade Bako? Oh, so you didn't know. Well, he is. That's exactly why I hid it somewhere no one will ever find it. I see. It must be very precious to you then. Well, I'm relieved that the iron box found its way to you then. Hump. So, was there a curse stone inside the iron box? A curse what now? Don't play dumb. There must have been one. Well... So you already knew about it. There was indeed a curse stone inside. That's what I thought. Then how about a trade? You two want the Tamade Bako, don't you? Oh? A trade? I'm not feeling good about this one, guys. I didn't think we'd be going out this far. You certainly shook me when you said we had to take a boat all of a sudden. To think that Tamade Bako would have been hidden at sea. What an incredible plot twist. Ah, my apologies. I guess that's just the writer in me coming through. This is all too thrilling. You sure can talk. Oh, believe it or not, I'm actually holding back. I can actually go on and on at great length once I get started. That wasn't praise. There's nowhere to run on an island. No matter where you go, someone's always near. It's always too loud, grating on the ears. The sea, though, once you get this far out, it's nice and quiet. Nothing but the sound of waves. No talking, no irritating folks or commotion. Only fish swimming without a sound. This is fine. Stop the boat. We're somewhere off the coast of Toba City, accompanied only by the sound of the waves and the cries of the seabirds. Did she really hide the Tamade Bako here, in a place with no landmarks whatsoever? And if it's at the bottom of the ocean here, how are we supposed to retrieve it? Miss Somakawa used to be an Ama diver. Could she be planning to go down and get it herself? I can't shake the feeling that there's something behind me. Whoa! This is one of Circe's abilities, a Shikigami. When someone's name is written on a piece of paper, she can make that paper fly towards that person. They're great for delivering messages or tracking down someone. I was pretty spooked the first time I saw it, but I've gotten used to it. Okay, fine, I did just go, whoa, but not because I was actually surprised or anything. Is something wrong? Ah, it's nothing. Don't mind me. I wonder if something happened to Circe. I'd better read the note. Let's take a look. Ran into 2 suspicious people looking for Miss Somakawa. I drove them off for now, but be careful. Seems like something happened on Circe's end. I'd better stay alert just in case, but I don't think I'll mention this to Miss Somakawa. It'll only shake her up. Alright, surroundings are done. There's no stickers on the boat. No stickers on the boat. She looks so solemn. I wonder what's going on through her mind. Not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned she still hasn't told me what the conditions of our trade. Will she ask me to trade her the curse stone? So, will you tell me what you want to trade for the Tomate Bako now? You've got the Forsaken Fish curse stone with you, right? Sure do. Have a good look. The Forsaken Fish curse stone. Looks like the real deal, all right. You want to trade the stone for the Tomate Bako, right? I figured as much. Well, I'm fine with those terms. Let's do it. No, that ain't it. Oh, that ain't it? You want me to throw it in the ocean? You know, I once had a sister. Her name was Mare Somikawa. You say you had a sister. Does that mean... Yes, she's gone. Died in an accident at sea about 5 years ago. I see. My condolences. So there actually was another descendant. You folks seem to be pinning your hopes on me because I'm one of the descendants. But the one who actually inherited our duty wasn't me. It was my sister. Your duty? That's right. The duty of the Taishima bloodline. It's been passed down in our family for generations. Even more, our generation would be the one to handle the 400th year since the disaster. My grandpa always said that was particularly important. So there was a duty Taishima's descendants were meant to perform after 400 years. But I was young back then. I still had dreams of my own. I wanted no part in some annoying duty, so I ran away from home the first chance I got. I pushed all that responsibility onto my sister, but I know I should have helped her. I see. So that's why your sister was the one who inherited that duty. This duty you mentioned, was it to break what remains of the curse of the raging waves? I suppose they were connected, but Lifting the curse would have been a step along the road, but it wasn't the goal. Oh, really? Then what was it? Well, it was to return the mermaid that was left behind in Ise Bay to Ryugu. That was the real duty of the Taishima bloodline. Return a mermaid. So it's true, there really was a mermaid stuck in Ise Bay because she couldn't return to Ryugu. That's right, her name was Sobe. Oh, she's come up in our research, so she was real after all. You see, my sister that took on the family duty, it seems like she actually met Sobe herself. She got to meet the mermaid. After leaving my hometown and making a living as an alma diver, I'd all but forgotten about the duty I'd left behind. I had no idea what our duty actually entailed. When I finally learned the truth, I was crushed by regret. Regret? Why? You know, ever since I was a little girl, I'd always been fascinated by mermaids. Understandable. I read The Little Mermaid so many times the pages of the book had started to wear away. I would see them in my dreams over and over. Back then, I wanted nothing more than to become a mermaid. It's what led me to become an alma diver in the first place. But the true nature of the family duty is only revealed to the one who inherits it. I see. What bitter irony. But couldn't you meet the mermaid after you learned the truth? My sister took pity on me and attempted to call her to meet me once in secret. My sister, Mare, even shared some of the things the mermaid had told her. But you know, Sobe was a cautious mermaid who never truly opened her heart to anyone but my sister. Me, on the other hand, she avoided. I was never even allowed as much as a glimpse. Quite the bitter outcome. Mare and the mermaid had grown close as friends. They trusted each other. They were inseparable. But she never once showed herself to anyone other than my sister, not even to a close relative like myself. So she hid herself away for 400 years. Was such caution really necessary? Your sister must have been an incredible person to earn the mermaid's trust. Though I can only imagine how hard it must have been to be rejected by an existence you so deeply admired and longed to meet. Mari moved to Kamishima to be closer to Ryugu, all for the mermaid's sake. Then one day she got married and changed her name to Mari Minakuchi. She seemed so happy. So she got married on Kamishima. I was so jealous I couldn't think straight and ended up lashing out pretty badly. In an attempt to destroy my sister's relationship with the mermaid, I grabbed our family heirloom and ran off. Ah, the infamous Tamade Bako, yes? Yeah. The mermaid was supposed to take it back to Ryugu, so our family had carefully kept it for centuries. And so the years went by. Then, 5 years ago, I heard that Mari had died in an accident. That's why I came back to Toba. I thought that maybe this meant the duty would be passed on to me. Of course. But by then our parents and all our relatives had already passed away. There was no one left who knew about our duty. There was nothing I could do. I didn't know a thing, not where the mermaid was, nor how to call her. I'd given up. But while I was digging around, that man Ikoma found out I was a descendant of Chaisuma. You see, I was struggling to get by. I'd sold the information my sister had told me about the mermaid. Back then, I was making a living by giving folks a glimpse of the Tamade Bako for a ridiculous price. And that brings us to the present, I suppose. In other words, since your sister died in that accident, your family's duty was never fulfilled. And now you want us to go find the mermaid for you. That ain't it. Dang. I guess it must have been about 3 months ago. I was wandering the coast alone when the mermaid Sobe appeared before me. Oh, you finally got to meet her. She told me this. The seal on Ryugu's gateway has been lifted, so I will be returning. Your sister has done a great deal for me. I now ask you to return the Tamade Bako. Wait, what? The seal was lifted. Ah, is that perhaps why the curse of the raging waves became active again? So what about the Tamade Bako? Did you return it to the mermaid? I was so overcome with emotion and excitement, I told her, I've hidden the relic. If you want it back, take me to Ryugu. You said what? Not being able to fulfill my duty had been weighing heavy on my heart. But in that moment, that pain was gone. On top of that, I figured the mermaid had come to fetch me. Being able to visit the land of the mermaids, there'd be no greater happiness than that. But Sobe simply told me it wasn't possible and that she'd forfeit the relic, and with that she was gone. Oh. So the mermaid has already returned to Ryugu then. Ever since then, all I felt is despair and regret. I'm completely empty inside. There's nothing left. My family's duty has been fulfilled. That's what I meant when I said it was all over. Before we discuss the trade, would you take the time to listen to my story? But then, the Tamade Bako still exists, doesn't it? Sure does, but... even with such a fancy name, in the end it's just a grimy old box. I opened it once. I was hoping there'd be some elixir of eternal youth inside or something, but it was completely empty. I see. Even so, I'd still like to trade for it. Are you sure? I don't see why, but whatever. It's not like anything matters anymore. I'm just sick and tired of it all. Ah. In the end, I never did figure out what that Tamade Bako really was. The mermaid forfeited it just like that, so maybe it never had any meaning to begin with. So, what do you want in return? I want to do whatever it takes to become a mermaid. Miss Somikawa, don't tell me. You want me to use the curse stone? Simply returning to the sea, that's my only wish. No, listen, there's nothing even remotely beautiful about the curse of the Forsaken Fish. All it will do is turn you into some twisted half-fish monster, nothing but a grotesque imitation of a mermaid. I know. That's fine with me. This curse is the essence of that mermaid's power. I am ready to offer up my life to her. But whatever you do, I'll just be drowning myself anyway. So you won't be dirtying your hands. All you have to do is use the curse. My wish will be granted, and you would be doing me a kindness. That's all there is to it. Just hold on a minute, okay? This is just... Tamade Bako is hidden beneath the floorboards of my house. Please do this for me. Mrs. Somikawa, wait. Ah, she's already gone. Will she come back up if I just wait long enough? She's nowhere to be seen, of course. She is an Alma diver, after all. Is it too late to call for help? Would she even accept it? Anything else I can do? Doesn't look like it. Damn it, what now? What do I do? Should I grant her last wish? It's surely no worse than helplessly standing about as she drowns herself. Right, she was serious about this. She's been dreaming about mermaids ever since she was little. I know exactly how that feels. It may be a curse, but still, I will honor her wishes by unleashing the mermaid's power. It's how she wanted to go. I may be the only one who actually understands Miss Somikawa's feelings. If I don't act now, it'd be like denying her final hope and dream. Ah! Asuza Somikawa, a woman living in Toba. Although she occasionally does work as an Alma diver, it is unclear who she is and where she came from. As Mari Minakuchi's younger sister, Azusa is also a descendant of the sole survivor of Taishima. Following the destruction of Taishima, the Somikawa line hid themselves away, living for generations in a small village within the city of Shima. The book The Little Mermaid was a constant fixture in the household, a decision made so that the children of the family would grow up with a familiarity with mermaids, and Asuza read it repeatedly as she grew up, the tale fueling a fervent admiration for mermaids within her. Upon realizing that she could never be a mermaid herself, she instead decided to become an Alba diver, thinking that it would at least allow her swim freely through the sea, like the beings she so admired. Thus resolved, she left her hometown behind, leaving the family duty, nothing more than a troublesome burden to Azusa, to be handled by her elder sister alone. For all intents and purposes, it appears that Asusa's wish has been granted. However, upon returning home following her parents' death, she was taken back to learn that the family duty inherited by Mare was in itself deeply connected to mermaids. Forgetting how she had pushed the duty onto Mare to follow her own desires, Azusa grew deeply resentful of her sister, accusing her of keeping the mermaid to herself and asserting her right to take up the family duty. But it was too late. Mare and the mermaid had already forged an unbreakable bond that no amount of words or deeds could undo. Following Mari's death, she was finally able to meet the being that had enchanted her for so long. However, her desperate plea for the mermaid to take her back to Ryugu with her was met with staunch refusal, and the mermaid left shortly after, never to return. With her opportunity to fulfill the family duty gone and her chance at connecting with mermaids lost, Asusa sank into despondency, spending her days in empty haze. Amidst this despair, the curse of the forsaken fish that appeared before her seemed to be the final chance to have her wish granted. Driven by regret over what she perceived as a life of wrong choices and consumed by her obsession, she threw herself into Ise Bay and surrendered herself to the curse, ultimately dying due to its effects. Her form, writhing in the agony brought on by her sudden transformation, bore no resemblance to the mermaid she had once so admired as a child, yet it is said that the expression on her face when her body was discovered a day later in Fudamigaura seemed somehow content. One of the three mermaids who were said to have lived near Taishima about 400 years ago, she has since returned to her home, Ryugu. After that, we managed to quietly retrieve the Tamade Bako from beneath the floor in Miss Somikawa's house. All that was left to secure the dream of immortality was to obtain the mermaid flesh. Since Sobe had already returned to Ryugu, we placed our hopes on the last remaining mermaid, Nagame. But we had to act fast, otherwise Ikoma or even these Paranormal Affairs Bureau psychics would get in our way. It might have been the after effects of using the curse, but I got sick the next day and had to spend a full day bedridden at the end. At the end. How pathetic. That's when I heard news that 2 female divers had gone missing near Toba. The fact that I'd been involved in both incidents made me feel even worse. When Cersei heard the news, she just mumbled something with an unreadable expression on her face. I had no choice. There was simply no other way. Or at least that's what I kept telling myself as I struggled to get out of bed. The next day, August 7th, We set out to gather more information on Magame and the other mermaids. We traveled to Kamishima, the island where Mare Somikawa, or rather Mare Minakuchi, used to live. And there you met her son. All right, that was emotional. That wasn't what I meant by action. Oh, we've got an enemy now. Bad blood. Nice. All right, so that was a lot. I'm going to go process that for a little while. When we come back, we've got more Avi. We've got a Yumeko. I'm not sure if I should go to Yumeko or if I should go to Avi. I'll decide when I get back. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for joining me for another night of Strange and Scary Games. I love you. I will see you in the next video. Good night.